And moving on to the second story that we're debating on the show today. The grand old party seems to be putting out fires in all directions. From Punjab, where Rahul Gandhi was campaigning today, to Goa, which is due to go to elections in just a few days from now, and even Karnataka, where elections are due next year. And the man who's in the spotlight is Rahul Gandhi, not the official chief of the Congress, but the one on whom the party depends, or so many believe. In Amritsar today, Navjot Singh put Rahul Gandhi in a spot by asking him and the party to declare the chief ministerial candidate ahead of the assembly elections. This comes at a time when there's an ongoing tussle between Sidhu and the sitting chief minister Charanjit Singh Channi. But the incumbent said that all is well, even hugged Sidhu for the cameras. That prompted Rahul Gandhi to declare that if the party and people want it, they will declare a CM face. Listen in.
अगली सरकार बनाने के लिए लड़ रहे हैं महाराज और अगली सरकार बनाने लिए नीहां च भी चढ़दी हो नवजोत सिंह सिद्धू ने उफ कर गया लेकिन निर्णय लेने की ताकत दईओ भावें कोई निर्णय होए बस दर्शनी घोड़ा ना बना दियो बाकी सब ठीक है। गाड़ी में बात हुई कि आगे पंजाब को कौन लीड करेगा। मीडिया वाले उसको सीएम कैंडिडेट कहते हैं। दोनों चन्नी जी ने और सिद्धू जी ने गाड़ी में मुझे कहा कि देखिए पंजाब में सबसे बड़ा सवाल कांग्रेस पार्टी को पंजाब में कौन लीड करेगा। और दोनों ने मुझे आश्वासन दिया और मैं बहुत खुश हुआ कि देखिए दो लोग तो लीड नहीं कर सकते हैं, एक ही व्यक्ति लीड करेगा। और दोनों ने मुझे कहा जो भी लीड करेगा कसम खा के दूसरा व्यक्ति अपना पूरा दम अपनी पूरी शक्ति उसकी मदद करने में लगा देता।
In Karnataka, Congress's Muslim face and a former union minister, CM Ibrahim, dumped the party and ended his 15-year association. As the Satrap dumped the grand old party for neglecting senior leaders in the state, he said that Muslims are used by the grand old party when votes are needed and then dumped. In Goa, 11-time MLA and former chief minister picked his family over the party. Pratap Singh Rane withdrew his candidature from Poriyam, a seat where his daughter-in-law is fighting on a BJP ticket. This comes as a big jolt to the Congress party as they have never lost this seat in the last few decades. So where is the Congress heading? Under Sonia Gandhi, there was the formation of dissenting leaders who banded together to question the leadership, the G23 question, the lack of leadership, and a full-time chief. Under Rahul Gandhi, there has been an exodus of Gen Next Netas, even though he's not formally the president, but is believed to be the decision maker. Many believed that they were part of those who are exiting were part of his core team. Now, barring Milind Deora and Sachin Pilot, most of this inner circle has joined BJP's ranks, and with the focus now on Uttar Pradesh, there seems to be a referendum on whether Priyanka Gandhi's leadership is on what her leadership is as well, with many high-profile exits, including that of 4 sitting MLAs.
You're watching the News Hour at 9. Debate number 2 on Times Now. Super Prime Time.
Right, I guess joining us live with us is Tuhin Sinha, spokesperson of BJP. Dr. Anand Ranganathan continues to be with us, author. We have with us also Sumanth C Raman, political analyst. Also continuing to be with us is Mruzamman Chowdhary. But I want to go across to the man who made news earlier today, CM Ibrahim, who is quitting the Congress party because he believes that minorities and Muslims are only show ponies. They're only used for elections and then discarded. Mr. Ibrahim, elaborate on why you said this today. Is it only because you did not get your position in the Legislative Council as leader of opposition?
No, you see, usually the leader will be elected by the members. There are 22 MLCs. members are there. Out of 22, 19 are my supporter. Today you didn't take that into this one. Suddenly yesterday night, a letter will come. Hari Prasad is appointed as the leader of the Legislative Council. And that to be is my junior boy. How can I work? Who authorized AICC to appoint as a leader? We never give any authorization. No MLC gave any authorization. Nor they conducted any meeting. And Rahul Gandhi not available. Sonia Gandhi not available. Surjewala, I worked with his father. A man who got defeated in Haryana Assembly election, should I go and stand before him? I was the central minister and I was the first minister who brought Indian Airlines, Air India into profit. A man, Anil Baijal, who is sitting there as a lieutenant governor in Delhi, you ask him, how was my administrator?
Right.
I was the INB minister. I was number 2
Certainly.
when Devegowda and Gujral was there.
Absolutely.
And this too much of services there. If on phone Rahul is not available, then should I go and stand before Venugopal, junior boy?
Okay, Mr. Ibrahim, I can understand your frustration. You've articulated very well. Mruzamman Chowdhary, Mr. CM Ibrahim is raising some very, very pertinent questions. And these are questions that we're not hearing for the first time. This has come out from those who have quit the party, whether it's Sushmita Dev, whether it's RPN Singh, whether it is Mr. Scindia, whether it is Captain Amrinder Singh. The list is very long. I don't want to waste time by taking all those names. You know very well who these are. People who have worked very closely with Rahul Gandhi, senior leaders like Mr. Ibrahim, all appear to be saying the same thing. The top leadership is inaccessible. Well, they neither have the ear on the ground nor want to listen to us.
Yeah, Madhav, to comment on the Ibrahim Sahab's decision, I'm a very small pawn within the party and I don't have that much of this thing to comment on his decision. But rather, I can tell you in generalized way, these are some isolated incidents concerned some great leaders of our party. If Ibrahim Sahab decides to leave the Congress party, it's a big loss for the party indeed. And I believe the higher leadership as of now is an election mode in Punjab, Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Manipur and Goa. So I believe there might be some miscommunication on the part of the Congress leadership who have not communicated properly with him. But I believe...
but why do we see this being repeated again, sir? But this communication has to happen right from the top. Now, if RPN Singh is leaving, if Sushmita Dev is leaving, all are saying the same thing, that we are not able to communicate with the top. Mr. Himanta Biswa Sarma, who is now the Chief Minister of Assam, even he says the same thing, that attention was not given. There is also at some level, Mr. Mruzamman Chowdhary, you will agree that even managing your people, ensuring that those who are talented, those who have experience, those who can win elections, whatever may be the criteria, that those individuals are managed. And that does not seem to be happening in the Congress party. There seems to be a complete breakdown of that right now.
No. Ibrahim Saab is a very, very senior respected person within the party. Please do not compare him with the career politicians who have very recently left the party.
Mr. Captain Amrinder Singh is a career politician.
Wow. I mean, so one
four-time Chief Minister.
He wanted to... Captain Amritsar Singh may be your poster boy, but
no, he's nobody's poster boy. I'm just talking about the winnability, sir.
You were so happy when he was aligning with the BJP.
No. Nobody was happy about anything. Nobody is passing any judgment. These are questions that are coming from within the G23 as well, from within the party fold. You have Mr. Ghulam Nabi Azad, who is mocked if he gets an award. What is going on in the Congress party is a very serious question, sir. And I want to bring in Sumanth C Raman, I want to bring in Tuhin Sinha and Anand Ranganathan on this. Let me, one second. Let me, I'm coming to you, gentlemen. We have enough time. I want to bring in Anand Ranganathan first. Anand Ranganathan, when questions are asked from within the Congress party's fold as to what is going on, senior leaders like Mr. Ibrahim are today on national television saying nobody consults me. I have been a union minister more than 20 years ago, yet this is the state of affairs. It is the high command culture which paradrops leaders who are not even acceptable perhaps to the same legislative council in which he is an aspirant for becoming the LOP.
No, absolutely, Madhav. And my good friend, Mr. Chowdhary, I can see very clearly is treading on very thin ice because he doesn't want to join the ranks of suspended Congressman Mr. Sanjay Jha. That's why, if you remember, yesterday, he was very scathing towards Mr. RPN Singh. And today, he is cushioning this kind of ejection, I would say, I would not call Mr. Ibrahim, who's a very senior Congress leader, very respected Congress leader, I would call that, he has left on his own accord. I think he's been pushed out, to be very honest with you. And that is why I repeat what I say. Congress, you may call it the GOP or whatever, is actually like Titanic. And Rahul Gandhi is the captain. He is steering the ship all night long in search of icebergs. And Mr. Chowdhary and a lot of other people are rearranging the deck chairs or playing the violin. It is no use. Can I bring the analogy right here, just 10 seconds, Madhav, of Mr. Hemanta Biswa Sharma, who met the same fate as Mr. Ibrahim is, facing now. He said, Rahul Gandhi did not have time for me. What is worse, and I hope Mr. Ibrahim did not see the same fate as Mr. Hemanta Biswa Sharma, who was offered the biscuits that Rahul's dog Pity was offered. So look at, it's not just the ignoring senior Congress leaders, it is humiliating them. For how long will they stand? Mr. Chowdhary has to realize the writing is on the wall.
Okay, let me bring in fact, not just Mr. Chowdhary, I want to bring in Sumanth C Raman. Sumanth C Raman, there's some very, very serious fundamental issues. Humiliation of top leaders. You have one leader here who feels extremely slighted. You know how senior Mr. CM Ibrahim is, and he's saying that clearly the lines of communication, the way in which senior leaders, you would agree, and it's not just about politics, it's about every field. Senior people have to be dealt with in a sensitive manner. That just doesn't seem to be happening. Why are things going so wrong? Because even from Goa, if I can just add, even from Goa, where Pratap Singh Rane was in fact speaking to senior leaders, Mr. Chidambaram had gone from the Congress party's central unit to Punjab, where in fact Channi and Sidhu have been at loggerheads. Today, they've literally embarrassed Mr. Rahul Gandhi by on the stage saying that please announce a chief ministerial face.
One, of course, is the fact that Mr. Ibrahim has sort of slightly embarrassed you because you started the debate by saying that he spoke about, the minorities being used as show ponies and stuff like that and them being neglected. But throughout his speech on this show, he made it very clear he was leaving because he wasn't given the attention that he felt he deserved. Bottom line. So that's the point number one. So that has taken out the argument that you made at the start.
We can ask him that if you want. Now, he said it right on his channel earlier today also. If you want, I can ask him again. If you're not convinced, I can ask him that also.
No. You can ask him now. It's a prompting question.
Sir, you are taking it out of the argument. You are cherry-picking facts. Respond to the questions he's raised. I will ask him. Since you are concerned about this issue, I will ask him again if you want. Mr. Ibrahim, Mr. CM Ibrahim, Mr. Sumanth C Raman believes that you have not made a comment saying that minorities are used as show ponies. The fact that you said that they're used by Congress and then discarded after elections. He believes that you have not said it today. He is very concerned. He says that it is factually incorrect to say that Mr. Ibrahim believes that. Do you believe in that or not, Mr. Ibrahim?
No. If this will happen to me, a man senior like me, then how can I expect? I am the star campaigner. I am the star cap, 2 helicopters, 130 meeting, 140 meeting. For asking of begging for vote I needed. When the question of leadership comes, I told them, you don't appoint me. Conduct the election. If I will get the majority, you make me. If I won't get the majority, don't make me. To whom I should tell? To Shalai Surjewala? 6 months back he came to my house. He had 1 hour meeting. He left. Not available. Phone karo, not available. Venugopal. Arre, junior boys before me should have gone. Say, I was a minister. Number 2 in 1995. Today we are in 222. What is my experience? I conducted Kashmir election. Not even a single death. You ask Farooq Abdullah. Did Rahul Gandhi don't know this? And what Priyanka's marriage, I was the one of the attendee for that. Vadera was my good friend. Arre, hamare saath, if this is the fate for me, not even a single inquiry. 7 years BJP government, no CBI, no ED, no income tax raid. क्योंकि हमारे पास कुछ है ही नहीं.
Sumanth C Raman, I hope you've got your answer. Do you still have questions for Mr. Ibrahim, sir? Please go ahead. If you still have questions for Mr. Ibrahim, please go ahead, Sumanth C Raman.
No, Madhav, please hold up a placard. He's still not saying it. What you want to
No, he said it. His very first sentence was it, please, Sumanth C Raman, let's not try to be too clever by half. He's saying if it's happening with me, it can happen to anyone. How do we know that they will actually give minorities what they promise? He said it in so many words now. How many times do you want him to say it now, Sumanth C Raman? Please, you want to hear the soundbite he said earlier as well?
1 minute.
Come on, let's not be economical with the truth, sir. I understand it's a difficult debate for you to defend, but there are some serious problems that are being pointed out.
1 second. Madhav, did you call Mr. Harak Singh Rawat for a debate and talk to him about why he left the BJP? Did you call Mr. Yashpal Arya? Did you call...
Of course, we reported it, sir. These are all facts. Mr. Harak Singh Rawat himself is not coming on record.
Did you call them? And
yes, they have been invited. Mr. Rawat is welcome to come and join us on a debate.
What about my...
No, we have, and please don't make this allegation that we've not reported. It's very much there. We will welcome even Mr. Rahul Gandhi to come and debate with us. We will welcome Priyanka Gandhi also to come and debate with us, sir.
Did you call them on a debate and ask them the reasons they left? I'm not...
Sir, we have invited them time and again. I think we are being. I think we are getting into a very, we are getting into a very rhetorical debate. So I don't want to waste the viewers' time, Sumanth C Raman. I know this is difficult. But I want to quickly bring in a response from the BJP spokesperson, Tuhin Sinha. Tuhin Sinha, what does this really reflect in terms of a larger malaise? Is this a serious problem? Because, there is a certain degree of seniority with Mr. Ibrahim is there. He is talking about his own experiences. And I think this is very clearly a very sad state of affairs. If in any political party, this is not just about Congress. If this happens in any political party, I think normally people would be concerned.
Madhav, the truth today is that the exodus of responsible leaders from the Congress party ever since the Gandhi siblings took control is faster than the exodus of civilians from Afghanistan after Taliban took over. That's the truth. Now, my heart goes out to Mr. CM Ibrahim today. We all are aware of his contribution, in the late 1990s, but unfortunately, Rahul Gandhi may be ignorant of that, because that is how ignorant he is about anything which precedes him. Now, Mr. Ibrahim has raised 2 or 3 very important points. The non-availability of Congress leaders. So, at a time when Europe was ravished by by Omicron and COVID, Rahul Gandhi disappears on the eve of election for 2 weeks or 15 days. Now, what is the pressing need which even the country needs to know? And this is not the first time. Before every important election, he disappears. The second point, the non-democratic nature of the Congress leadership, where the central high command takes all the decisions. So obviously they would not be aware of the contribution of Mr. CM Ibrahim, and that largely puts Congress into an existential crisis. Trust me, by the time they reach 2024, they will be reduced to 25 or 30 seats. That is how irrelevant the Congress has become today for the entire country.
All right. Quick. Yes, Mruzamman Chowdhary wants to respond to that.
Yeah, time will tell who gets 30 seats or who gets 300 plus seats.
Time is telling every day. You don't want to take cognizance of it.
Mr. Tuhin, don't worry, Mr. Tuhin.
I'm not worried. I'm very happy because Gandhi's vision of the Congress
out here, people like CM Ibrahim are the face of the Congress party. Whether the party tries and keeps them within the party fold is a big question. Now, when we are fighting a war of preserving the Constitution of India, the idea of India, then people like CM Ibrahim, who have become the face of Congress party in Karnataka, they need to lead the way. That is how it is. But then, unfortunately, if he thinks that he is not getting his due share within the party, then we can't help it. Because this is a political, has got strange bedfellows. Because one day you have got Madhavdas India criticizing BJP.
All right, one last closing comment from Mr. Ibrahim. Mr. Ibrahim, is there any possibility that you would reconsider your decision of quitting the Congress, or is this decision final?
When the party sent me out, what should I consider? It is for them to rectify the mistake. I never told I am quitting you, nor I asked for the leadership. I told them simply, you conduct the election. If I get the majority, you make me. Arey election पूछना भी है. 21 members में 19 they are supporting me.
Sir, you made a comment to some regional media today saying that triple talaq हो गया, 3 talaq हो गया. You stand by that comment?
आप करें क्या फिर? तो सिंगल तलाक हुआ है.
Okay.
तीन की जरूरत नहीं है, वो बीवी को तीन चाहिए.
All right.
Political party को single
All right.
का
I think that's one comment which has Mr. Ibrahim has managed to unite all our panelists. Everybody is smiling on the show. We'll have to leave it there for the moment. Thank you so much, Mr. Ibrahim, and for very candidly and frankly speaking here on the Newshour this evening.